Welcome back to everyone who's watching Mama Gagasawa TV. You're going to be with me, Princess Mudisha. Let's start with the news headlines. World Food Day 2025. Roman-based United Nations agents reaffirms commitment to transforming agri-food systems in Rwanda for a better future. On the international scene, Sudan's oil production dropped after South Sudan's session, as said by the finance minister. Pakistan, Afghanistan agreed to temporarily truce after the fresh fighting airstrikes. Let's take a short break to be back into the news details. Welcome back into the news details on the start of news in Rwanda, where yesterday the Rwanda Convention Bureau delegation continued their MCI Lord Shop agreements by holding a meeting with the director of the Conference Management and Publication at the African Union discussion focusing on enhancing event system management, knowledge exchange, and exploring revenues for continued strong partnership in hosting international conferences. Also, the delegation visited Africa CDC, where they were received by Dr. Miyata Terifa, Deputy Chief of the Staff at the African CDC. Discussion focused on the strengthening collaboration in organizing a regionally, continentally, and international public health conference for professionalism, institution, and government to advance capacity for the disease surveillance, preparedness, and response to health emergencies in Africa. Turning to our next story, yesterday Minister Dominic met with Angelina, Executive Secretary of the National Public Service Commissioner, to discuss on strengthening public service delivery and staff management at the ministry and in decentralized administration entities. Also, PS Gatia received a delegation of members from the Standing Committee on Labor and Social Welfare of the Senator for the National Assembly of Kenya. Their discussion, the Rwanda Social Protection Policy, as well as various programs established for its implementation. Now let's turn our focus to this story, where on the occasion of the World Food Day 2025, the Roman-based UN agencies joined the government of Rwanda and the cooperation partners in celebrating the collective progress and calling for the board coordinated investment to accelerate the transformation of Rwanda's agri-food system. Held under the global theme of Hand in Hand for the Better Food and the Better Future, this year's celebration also marks the 80th anniversary of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, a milestone that underscores the urgency of building sustainable, inclusive, and resilient food system to achieve zero hunger. The celebration will be held on the 24th October 2025 in Nyagatare District. Rwanda has made commendable strides in improving food security and nutrition through increased productivity, expanded irrigation, and investment in market access. The strategic plan for the agriculture transformation positions agriculture as a cornerstone for achieving food and nutrition security. With the visionary leadership of Rwanda, work in hand with FAO and IFD are deepening their collective support to the government and partners to accelerate the transformation of agri-food system, building on complementary strength. The FO is expanding in hand initiative to harness gospel data, agribusiness, intelligence, investment, matchmaking, promoting inclusive value chains and territorial development. The Roman-based agencies agreed all stakeholders, including development partners, civil society, the private sector, and the communities, to collaborate for the food secure future, where the Rwandan has access to safe, nutritious, and affordable food. Let's take a short break to be back into the international news.
Bakiriya bacu, turabamenyesha ko Danobe Home yabaye Smart Home. Ni impinduka zigamije kongera ibicuruzwa byiza kandi biramba, by'umwihariko ku biciro bibanogeye n'uburyo bwo kwishyura buboroheye. Wadusanga aho dukorera KBC Kimihurura cyangwa ugasura urubuga rwacu wa/smarthome.rawa. Wanaduhamagara cyangwa se ukatwandikira ku murongo wa telefone ukurikira 0788 90 50 90.
Let's take a look into the international news where the Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed to a temporary ceasefire on Wednesday after airstrikes on the ground fighting lamped tensions between South Asian neighbors, leaving more than a dozen civilians dead and 100 wounded. Sandra Tumukund proceeds.
Let's start our international news on Africa. The African Union announced Wednesday that it had suspended Madagascar from its borders with immediate effect until constitutional order is restored after a coup that ousted President Andry Rajoelina. The group previously suspended several other member states after military coup, including Mali, Burkina Faso, and Guinea. The uprising resulted in a military-backed coup that brought Rajoelina to power as the transition leader of his Indian Ocean country at the age of just 34. On Tuesday, the same military unit that aided Rajoelina's rise declared it was taking power in Madagascar and outstanding him as president following weeks of youth-led protest, this time against Rajoelina and his government. About 75% of the country's 30 million people are affected by poverty according to the World Bank, with lack of access to higher education, government corruption, and the cost of living among the issues dominating the recent protests. Meanwhile, Randrinia will be sworn in as president of Madagascar during the ceremony hearing of the High Constitutional Court on 17 October, the country's military rulers said in a statement published on social media by state television station. Turning to our next story, polls crashed with protesters in Douala, the economic hub of Cameroon, after opposition candidate Issa Chiloma Bakari claimed victory in the October 12 presidential election. Chiloma declared himself the winner in a video statement on Facebook, saying, "Our victory is clear, it must be respected," adding that he would share a detailed report of the votes by region in the coming days. Analysts has predicted a victory for Paul Biya at 92, the oldest president in the world, as the opposition remained divided and his strongest rival was barred from running in August. 11 opposition candidates were on the ballot for the October 12 election. Chiloma, who is in his late 70s, was a government spokesman and Minister of Employment under Biya, but he quit the government last year to launch his presidential run. During his decades in power, the Central African nation of nearly 30 million people struggled with challenges from a deadly secessionist movement in the West and chronic corruption that has certified development despite rich natural resources. During the last presidential election in 2018, opposition leader Maurice Kamto claimed victory a day after the vote. He was later arrested, leading to protests and dozens of his supporters being detained. Let's turn to our next story. President Donald Trump said Wednesday he authorized the CIA to operate inside Venezuela to crack down on illegal flows of migrants and drugs from the South American national, but stopped short of saying they would have authorized to remove President Nicolas Maduro. The remarks are Trump's most expensive comment on his decision to expand the CIA's authority to conduct lethal targeting and carry out overt action in the region, which CNN. The president updated the CIA's authorities around the same time he signed a secret elective ordering the military to begin striking Latin American drugs cartels early this summer, sources have said. At least the 50th time the U.S. has announced such a streak, escalating tensions with Maduro, who has indicated that he is preparing to declare a state of emergency to protect his country in the event of an attack by the U.S. military. Meanwhile, Venezuela opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who was awarded the 2025 Nobel Peace Prize last week, has called for greater U.S. support to stop what she is describing as a war on her country by Maduro. Concluding our international news, Pakistan and Afghanistan agreed to a temporary ceasefire on Wednesday after airstrike and ground fighting ramped up tensions between the South Asia neighbors, leaving more than a dozen civilians dead and 100 wounded. Wednesday's fighting along the volatile, contested frontier shattered a fragile peace after dozens were killed in weak clashes, the worst between the two Islamic countries since the Taliban seized power in Kabul in 2021. Afghanistan Taliban administration spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid said the ceasefire was due to the insistence of Pakistani side. Kabul had directed its force to observe the ceasefire provided the other side does not commit aggression. Early on Wednesday, Pakistan carried out airstrike on Afghanistan border province of Kandala and hit the town of Spin Boulder. Officials in both countries, Pakistan security officials said the airstrike had detected a brigade of Afghanistan Taliban troops and that dozens were killed without corroborating the claim. Afghanistan's defense ministry spokesman said residential areas were hit. Pakistan carried out another airstrike in Kabul. It was not clear what the target of the strike was in Kabul.
As we come to the end of news edition today, let's go back with the news headings. World Food Day of the 2025 Roman-based United Nations Agency reaffirms commitment to transforming agri-food system in Rwanda for a better future. The international scene, Sudan's oil production dropped after the South Sudan decision, as the finance minister says. Pakistan, Afghanistan agreed to temporary truce after the fresh fighting airstrikes. Thanks for having me. Stay tuned.